I'm pretty excited because it's Thursday evening and we're starting season 8. And as everybody knows,
I'm pretty excited because
I got to turn my volume down
Thursday
on that
evening,
other because
and
you guys are going to hear
we're
this
starting
and think
season
that
8.
we're real professional, and we're not. We don't plan for this. We just have a lot of fun. And we do this at a lead time for ads to play, for people to get caught up and make sure they got the notifications. And my name is Jason, and I am the car guy of the Car Guy and Six Fan Show, powered by Get Out and Drive podcast. And my partner in crime right over here.
I'm Grant. I'm straight Six Fan on YouTube. It makes me Six Fan of this Car Guy and Six Fan Show conglomeration, collaboration, something else.
We could go on all night.
So, yep, but I'm co-host tonight, and yes, I speak. I want to echo what Jason said. Excited that it's back to normal. It's Thursday nights. It's Car Guy and Six Fan Show time, and it's the 8th season, and I think it's an incredible accomplishment. And we'll talk about what makes season 8 different than previous seasons here in a bit, but it's just great to be back. It's great to have the fans back as well.
Absolutely. And just to keep in mind, guys, that ever since March of this past year, I have become a co-host to the Get Out and Drive podcast. So if you're always looking for more automotive talk and content, don't forget to head over to your favorite podcast listening device or area, whatever, and check out the Get Out and Drive podcast because you can catch more live, or not live, but more stories, more education, more fun, a lot of humor. Myself, John Meyer, and myself, we do the Get Out and Drive podcast. And because we are partnered with them, this live stream is powered by the Get Out and Drive podcast. And keeping in mind as well, you will see a new name in the chat, and that is Joanne Meyer, who has recently become a moderator for the Car Guy and Six Fan Show. So if you see her there, don't piss her off because she will block you. But she's just there to keep an eye on people. She wants to make sure that she can share out some links for you to click on. If there's some other channels that are in the chat, we may get her to pop those up and stuff like that. So everybody make sure you say hi to Joanne in the chat. I see that John is there under the Get Out and Drive logo. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Car Guy Six Fan Show Season 8. And why is this going to be the best season ever, Grant?
Well, there's probably like 3 different things that will be unique for season 8, and so I'll just pluck off one of them. And I don't know. There's no order here because we don't plan this out. But we have somehow coerced our wives into joining us on a legacy episode of the Car Guy and Six Fan Show to more or less roast us, more or less explain what it's like to be a wife to a car guy. Or a Six Fan, and what
I see what you did there.
what that's like. Well, I better not stop there. So that's one of the unique things that we have lined up here for season 8. But Jason, did you want to lead into the next one?
Absolutely. So Grant said there's 3 things. So the second thing that I feel is all because of you, our guests, our clan in the chat. I can't try to conglomerate 2 words there. You guys have asked us to bring back some of your favorite guests that we've had on the show from past seasons. We've reached out to over 6 or 7 or 8 of them. And so far, I think we've nailed down 4 for sure. We've got 2 more who said yes that we just don't have booked yet. So we are having some of your favorite guests and some of our biggest viewed guests that's ever been on the show are coming back. Not only are we calling this the best of or favorites or whatever you want to call it, but it's something that's going to be big simply because it's everybody's bigger. Grant's channel's bigger, my channel's bigger. Everybody that watches us is growing, and our guests, since the last time they've been here, their channels have significantly grown as well. Grant, why don't you fill us in on the 3rd reason why we're calling this the best of?
Yeah, well, and I think before we do the 3rd little treat, I guess, for season 8 is for those of you in attendance or those watching the replay, I guess we'll just peek behind the curtains a little bit on the people who have said yes. So we're talking about Waylon Wires coming back, Ellie's Garage is coming back. We've got Vice Grip Garage lined up. Well, he's one of the ones that we don't have an exact date for, but we've got Robbie from United by Trucks, and we've got the Boss Garage. Am I missing? I feel like I'm missing maybe one.
I think we got Junkyard Digs committed as well.
Yeah, that's right. So just those are some of the names, the likes of who we're bringing back. So, inside scoop there for those who are watching. But the third thing that was going to make season 8 different, or the greatest hits, is the fact that in the fall I will be traveling to Canada to do the Car Guy and Six Fan Show. Nope,
this way.
You would think after 8 seasons we'd have this figured out, but I don't. So although the way it's looking is that particular week, the Car Guy and Six Fan Show will probably shift to a Friday, and it will most likely go longer than an hour because we'll be throwing brewskis back. So again, there's I think we're in for a great season. Great rhymes with 8, all those things.
It works. Before we go any further, let's hop over to the chat and see who is joining us tonight, because we always like to acknowledge those who help support us, who are a part of the chat, who help make this show possible, because without you guys, well, we wouldn't be doing it if you're not watching. Uncle Squirrel John was the first one in there tonight. Will's Wheels, Gary Mathis, obviously Joanne and John are in there. Turlo's Garage. We've also got Ryan. Everything is Broken Garage. Ryan, I hope you're doing better. Harold Smith is there. We've also got no, that's it so far. Maybe there's a few more people that are watching who aren't commenting yet. The Bandit is in there. Thank you very much for being a part of the show tonight, guys. Let's get right into some of the nitty gritty of what we want to do. We already told you what we want to do for the season, but what we want to do tonight. So Grant, why don't we kind of lead off with a little bit of our unscheduled or uncommented about agenda here?
Yeah. So the other purpose is, I feel like it's because it was 8 weeks off from the last season. And I honestly thought, personally, having one less obligation on YouTube to do, I would get caught up on content and I'd be pumping out content. Like maybe back to weekly, I was doing it bi-weekly, and I was like, oh yeah, maybe I can get caught up on some things. And man, I'm telling you, life maybe got more stressful, more busy, more hectic than ever. So I felt like it's probably time to just take a step back and do a little assessment of our channels, do a like state of the union, state of the channel kind of thing. Both Jason and I will. And then as he and I've been discussing in these 8 weeks off, we just feel like YouTube's really changed since the start of the Car Guy and Six Fan Show 7 seasons ago. So we'll get into that a little bit and talk about what we think makes the current environment different, struggles we're going through. And that's what, I mean, that is the root of what the show has always been about, is growing on YouTube. So we're just going to kind of do a reflection, a little looking inside and thinking, okay, all right, where do we go from here? So with that, and before I hand it back over to you, Jason, I just want to say, with being powered by the Get Out and Drive podcast, I just wanted to kind of reflect on, I've been consuming more and more of that content here ever since your partnership with them. And what I've found really like entertaining or interesting about that show is, like, yes, I'm a car guy, but I'm not big into like racing. I don't really follow like NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, any of that stuff. But you've had at least 2 or 3 different guests recently on that have been kind of through the racing lens, and I've really enjoyed that. The rally racer was one, but then the gal up in Alaska who owns the lone, well, it's not the lone drag strip, but it's the biggest, like it's the big one. Like, so you guys have been nailing some really cool like slices of life through the racer lens, and I just wanted to kind of throw that out there.
Well, and part of that too is like I thought it would be a little bit difficult, and quite frankly, I find it a little bit intimidating when I get the email, or we use an app called Group Me, and it just allows all of us to kind of chat together. And when we get somebody's name into that chat, like when Joanne says, "Oh, by the way, we'd like to have this person," I'm like, I don't know who this person is. I feel a little bit bad that I don't, but it's an opportunity to go find out who they are, what they're about, why they are being a part of our show. And, that's what the podcast is all about. It's about learning. So when the time comes to have somebody that you don't know on your podcast, you get to know them. Like ever since that episode with the lady track boss in Alaska, I want to go to Alaska now for no other reason than to visit that racetrack, and Alaska's great and it is out of the way, but you know what? Someday I'll make it there, and someday I'll be able to shake hands with Michelle. It's a great opportunity being here and being able to network. If I was closer to John and Joanne, when John got invited to be a VIP for a NASCAR race, I'm sure if I was there, that would have been extended to me as well. And that was pretty exciting that John got to go to that track and meet, Richard Petty, the king of NASCAR. Like that's pretty cool. And that's what doing what we do over there is all about. It's the same thing that we're doing here, just in a little bit different format. We want to reach out and, network. The fact that we had Junkyard Digs and Whale and Wire and Vice Grip Garage and some of these bigger YouTube names on our show, we're now what I would classify as more than acquaintances. We can reach out and they respond to us. It's networking. The fact that they're saying yes to come back on our little show, it just means the world to me, and I'm so excited to see where the future of not just the podcast, Get Out and Drive podcast, is going, but with our show over here, the Car Guy Six Fan Show.
Yeah, and so with that, I guess we'll just start, diving into our individual channels and just kind of where we at, what's the state of the union, state of the channel, and I guess for me, so I think I've maybe only put 2 videos out since our last Car Guy Six Fan Show, which is pretty pathetic, over maybe 3 over 8 weeks. But I guess I got a little discouraged the last upload I did. It was self-admittedly I didn't get accomplished in a weekend what I wanted to get accomplished when I was replacing the carpet on my Grand Prix. So I didn't actually get like the payoff, the money shot of actually installing the new carpet, right? But I really thought, and I still would tell you, I think my thumbnail's good. And I thought I had the title good enough, but the 2 of them probably just aren't pairing super well. That I think I got 86 views. It's been up for probably a month, and I bet it still hasn't cracked 100 views. And it just, for me, was really disheartening to just be like, why the hell do I put this much effort into something for this little return when I just want it? Like, I have such limited time to get progress done on my car. Why would I continue to do this? And and then I reflect on myself, and I consume a lot less YouTube right now, less than I ever have. And I do think I fall into that demographic of the person who would rather just consume content 15 seconds or 1 minute at a time. And I think I kind of reflect on myself. It's like, so Village Customs is one of my favorite Instagram follows, and he has something, his story is always added to like every day. And I just think, I'm like, is it more worth it for me to just give people 15-second updates daily than a 15-minute update bi-weekly? And now I have a lot more time, or I have a lot more work to do if I want to monetize like through Instagram or something. Like that's I think a steeper hill to climb, and I'm already monetized on YouTube. But it's just made me think recently, like, what, again, an 8-hour, like 80 views is like 8 cents. I'll just say probably less than that, for 8 hours of work. Like, what's the point? So that's where I'm at. I'm really struggling with, and honestly, I've been dying to do more work on my car. I just haven't had time to do it. And when you don't have a rhythm, you don't have like regularity, like I think you lose the usual followers. And I don't know, things are just really tough for me right now. I guess that's my kind of update. That's my insight into where I'm at. Jason, your feedback or comments, or talk about your channel.
Yeah, so I'll start by kind of piggybacking on what you were saying, and I think that, you know, to some degree we often look at ourselves in the mirror and say, you know, how do I rate my content, and do I rate it based on effort? Do I rate it based on content? Who knows? But we look at it and we think to ourselves, you know, my content's pretty good, and unless you've got a specific objective or a specific goal in mind, rather than just vlogging a process, which is what I do, I find that the viewership, you know, it pays that price. You know, there's just, I like showing and sharing with everybody what it is that I do on my channel. And there's been a lot of interest in the Yugo over the last, you know, few weeks because I've been back to work on it. I did a live stream on Tuesday. Lots of people around, you know, lots of people working with me. And there's absolutely zero effort to put a live stream together. Well, I shouldn't say zero, but very, very minimal, and no editing. And you get the same views or more. So I like the idea of that. And I think that I'm right there with you. I do feel that right now, the whole YouTube thing is a conundrum, and I'm not sure how else to put it, because I can't pinpoint it. I thought for sure once I reached, you know, a certain milestone in subscribers, that my viewership would certainly go up. But I'm getting more views on shorts than I am on actual videos. You know, I can get 3,000, 4,000, 7,000 views on a short, and same thing over on TikTok. I can get $20,000, $30,000 on a TikTok, or dollars, views on a TikTok with minimal effort. And again, I sit there and I question myself, is it worth it going and doing all these projects? And who am I doing it for?
Well, I want to respond to something you just said there. Like you were talking about the TikTok thing where you get so much more exposure with a lot less effort. And it's not like, in some respect, I think someone could hear that and say, oh, well, you're just looking for the easy way out. You just want life to be easier. I'm like, sure. But I think what I hear when you say that is like, how did YouTube instantly just get so much harder? Like I'm not taking the easy way. I feel like I'm investing time, energy, effort. Like I'm not half-assing it on the YouTube side, but it just seems like returns are diminishing. So yes, that means we probably have to figure something out and grow again, right? Like to gain back just to sustain. But to your point, like I just felt like YouTube was always going to be this exponential growth thing where like, you know, I have my 10% rule of number of subscribers. I feel like my video in 48 hours should have 10% reflected in views of my total subscriber count. So the more regular subscribers I have, I know there can only be a tiny sliver of regular views and everything, but I feel like because the more and more people I know about my channel, YouTube acknowledges that, and YouTube gets it out in front of more and more like-minded people, and that views would, like, I just always felt like views would grow more the more I grow just naturally. And that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like we've really got to study hard and figure out, okay, what's the thing YouTube really wants us to be doing right now to be successful?
Yeah, and I think again, to just to jump on that, is we don't know what it is that YouTube wants us to do in some cases. So we just continue doing what we're doing in hopes that we just kind of snag that algorithm just a little tiny bit. And Grant, I've shared with you some of my videos that I've put out, and you know, within the first 12 hours or so, that graph is like almost pointing straight up. And you're like, yes, there's finally a video that's going to, you know, gain some momentum. And you wake up the next morning, and in the middle of the night, it flatlined. You know, in like the first so many hours, you may have got 300 or 400 views, or 1,200 or more, whatever. And then all of a sudden at midnight, it's like, oh, YouTube flicked the switch off, and then it just flatlined. And so I see a lot of comments in the chat. People are saying, you know, do it for yourself.
Well,
You know,
and I think now is a good time to, before you get to kind of assessing your channel, Jason, I do. There are some really good comments here, and I think we should spend some time on them. Like you were saying, do it for yourself, and if the people on YouTube like it, then it's grand. But at the end of the day, the project should make you happy first and foremost. I like that one, but I thought this is the one I caught earlier. Glenn Nickerson says, I should do it because I like it and let my personality shine through. Would you rather have viewers who appreciate you or put out scripted reality? And well, here's the thing is, like, I don't feel like I am putting out scripted reality. Like, I don't script anything and I'm not getting viewers. I don't feel like I'm getting a lot of appreciation for the time, effort, money I put, what I invest into it. So it just makes me think like, well, that's where I go back to kind of where everything's broken garage. It's where it's like, I think I just, at the end of the day, I'd rather just progress my project and say to hell with like worrying about a video that takes a month to get 100 views or more than a month. Like, it's like, wow, I just rather just work on my project at this point. Like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. And like, okay, so we could sit here. I think we can beat on this all night long, and which we've talked about before in different shows. And I think what all the big names in YouTube are telling you, it all works in theory. And the whole part about letting yourself and your personality shine through, absolutely. And that's kind of all that I've been banking on over the last couple of years. Is I think it was back in 2019, New Year's Eve 2019 or 2020, I kind of made a resolution that I was just going to do things a little bit different. And I'm okay with my channel growing slow, because I feel if it is slow, it's more organic. And I'm not sure if that's the right way to feel about it. But if people are going to click that subscribe button because they saw something they liked or appreciated, I feel that that person is likely more of a faithful subscriber or viewer than somebody who just saw that quick short. I don't put the shorts out to get subscribers. I put the shorts out to get views. If I happen to get a subscriber from it, great. Same thing with TikTok. I use TikTok as a stepping stone to get my brand out there. And it seems to be working okay. I recently just hit 5,000 followers on TikTok, which isn't huge by no stretch of the imagination. There's guys out there with millions and this and that, just like in YouTube. But I think that part of it is that, Grant, you and I talked about it during the new year, was setting those goals to say, okay, how are we going to grow? And I think part of it is branding yourself and getting it out there on every piece of social media that you can think of. Granted, it takes a little extra work. So what are you going to do to make those happen? Well, I own a used car dealership, so I can put shorts out based on customer states. Sometimes it's, that Ford 8N tractor that we're going to try and get running here pretty quick. People seem to like that funny little thing I did by throwing the penetrating oil at the engine to try and loosen up spark plugs. Like, you got to have some fun. You got to kind of be you. I find that I'm a little more in character, I guess. I don't want to say not like it's a fake thing, but I'm more me if there's somebody else around to kind of bounce things off of. And sometimes just being yourself, as much as I enjoy watching Vice Grip Garage, I catch myself using and saying a lot of his things when I'm working on a car. And I purposely don't want to do that when I'm recording a video, because then you get the trolls and the comments saying, oh, you're just trying to be like Derek and this and that. Well, for starters, it's working for him. But secondly, I don't want to be ripping off anybody else's shtick. I just want to be me. And sometimes it is pretty cool when you're doing stuff to use some of his sayings because, well, it fits. Use it. And there's a reason why he's popular, is because he is doing exactly what he loves, and that's making people smile, making them laugh, and being entertaining. So as far as the actual state of my channel goes, Dale the truck, where are we here? Over here is actually getting driven quite frequently. We are camping a lot, so we're back and forth to the camper. I made my first trip to the camper tonight in the Yugo. which I'll be posting on Instagram, which is roughly about 30 miles. So that's the furthest I've had that car since I've had it in a year. And, it works great. I'm learning a few things that it loves wide open throttle. And that might sound funny, but that's when it works the best. You just mash that gas and she just screams and away she goes. The Chrysler Cordoba hasn't turned a wheel in over a year, so we got to change that. We got to get driving on that. And with the gas prices the way they are right now, it's we're hovering around $2 a liter. And I think if I did the math for you guys, you'd be probably looking at somewhere just over $8 a gallon for us. So, having the Yugo, to go down to the camper, that needle, the gas gauge moved. Of course, it's a small gauge, but it only moved about a needle's width. And that might be half a gallon to go 30 miles and back. So it's not a lot. And I'm looking forward to driving that and getting it getting going. So the channel is doing good project wise. There's lots of work to be done. No time to do it. It's summertime. We want to be spending a lot of quality time at the camp. This weekend is the Atlantic Nationals, which is huge in our area. They posted on their Facebook page 2,155 registered vehicles for this event happening. It starts today, actually, and it's happening this weekend. The big kind of what you classify as the show itself. So I'll be trailering the Yugo up with the shop truck to my buddy's house, and then we'll be driving from his place over to the event and showing off. I don't want to. I'm talking a lot here, Grant, but I'm getting.
You're fine. You're fine.
So the Get Out Drive podcast offers ambassadorships, and one of the things that the Atlantic Nationals has done, because I reached out to one of the organizers, is because we do the National Get Out and Drive Day. Joanne has put together these postcards with our sponsorship on them. So it's National Get Out and Drive Day. If you don't know what that is, it's the first Sunday in October where you just get out and drive. There's no cost. If you want to register on the website, you go there and we will send you one of these neat little stickers and the card that tells you all about it. Our partners in that are racingjunk.com, obviously the Car Guy and Six Fan Show, and we've also got St. Louis Pinstripes, which is, I believe, Joanne's brother. And we are also partnering with the RPM Foundation so that we can raise funds for youth who are taking a keen eye in being able to get out and learn about the automotive industry. Maybe they're less fortunate. So we're raising money to the What Drives Youth, YOUTH program. So I've got 2,000 of these sitting in the front seat of the Yugo, and we will be handing those out to anybody and everybody who will listen to and read what's on this card. Hopefully we'll gain some partnerships. Hopefully we'll gain some notoriety throughout the industry for National Get Out and Drive Day. And obviously we want to hope to see those people clicking on our podcast, clicking on our websites, clicking on our YouTube channels, watching the Car Guy and Six Fan Show, and spreading the word about National Get Out and Drive Day. I'm pretty excited about it. And I'm looking forward to getting up there tomorrow and start handing out some of these bad boys.
Well, and depending on how well it goes this year for you, Jason, up there, is it worth looking at it for next year as Continental Get Out and Drive Day, since it will be a true United States and Canadian effort at that point?
Yeah, and we've actually talked about that kind of behind the scenes, calling it almost kind of coining International Get Out and Drive Day, to the point where, okay, well, now that we've got this ambassadorship program with the Atlantic Nationals, now we have the ability to reach not just the US, but Canada as well. So I'm hoping that if this is the start, then maybe we can hit some of the points, further west, Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver. We really want to make this happen. We really want to see National Get Out and Drive Day International Get Out and Drive Day become a real thing. Turtles Garage, thank you so much for the $4.99. Great segue into Super Chat talk. Every season, we talk about our Super Chats. You guys very generously Super Chat us or Super Sticker us for some funds. And we basically will use that to go right back to you guys. You make it possible. You send us your money. We want to do something in return by doing some sort of a prize or a give back or something like that at the end of the season. So it happens because Grant and I share the responsibilities. I'll be keeping track of all the Super Chats, and at the end of the season, we'll be paying them back somehow. Grant will be doing the same thing when the show is hosted on his channel.
Yeah, because of your generosity, it gives us the opportunity to, as Jason said, give back. And so, I just, over the years, we've done things between Jason and I, like from Killmat sound deadening kits to Forever Sharp steering wheel giveaway, just a Yeti tumbler with like our logo on it. The Jason's giving away like the just numerous things. I can't remember them all, but some really nice prizes. And I just we want to thank you, and we can't just give everybody their money back because that kind of defeats the purpose of us doing what we do. But at the same time, we just kind of feel guilty for just people being generous to us, so we want to be generous back.
Yeah, and throughout the season too, we'll be doing special things, and we have an award show at the end of the season, and sometimes we'll just kind of randomly, throw out a free T-shirt from either one of us or something like that. So that's all part of marketing the Car Guy and Six Fan Show. We want you to come back. We don't want you to just sit there and throw money at us all the time, although it helps. That's not what we do it for. So, we thank you guys for doing that, and we will be keeping track of each and every one of those Super Chats for the end of the season.
So Will's Wheels asks, what are y'all's thoughts on the new Super Thanks button for YouTube? And I don't know if this is exactly the same thing of what I'm thinking of, but I don't even know when it started or how you engage it or where you got to be. But I'll be honest, I love it because I think it's I'm probably stupid for saying this, but I've never believed in the Patreon thing, like only because I only treat my viewers like I treat myself. I would never sign up for anybody's Patreon. That's just me. I don't see the value in it, so I'm not going to set one up and expect other people to do the same for me. But the Super Thanks thing is like if somebody like off of one piece of content really enjoyed something, or hey, like I've gotten the comments over the years, hey, this saved me a ton of time because of this camera angle. You showed me exactly what I need to do, how to get to what I need to. Nowhere else did it. Like, and people leave me like $5 because it saved them hours or something. I love this idea. This makes way more sense to me than something like a Patreon account.
Absolutely, and I agree with that because the little Super Thanks button just sits there underneath the video. It's not hidden. It's not slapping you in the face. It's there. If somebody is inclined to hit the thumbs up button, I'm just as happy as I am if they were to send a Super Thanks. But at the end of the day, you don't need to be asking people for money. I don't believe. I appreciate it when I get it. I appreciate the Super Chats and the Super Stickers and all that stuff. And to some degree, if you are a huge YouTube channel and you're leaning into doing it full time, then yeah, there might be some room there for you to make extra content for the people who are your Patreons or your supporters to some degree that is specific just for them, which means maybe a one-on-one with them in a live stream so that you can kind of get in there and help or talk personally with these people. But if you're just doing YouTube for fun, like Grant and I are, I don't see the use for, the Patreon or the different levels of membership. Someday maybe, but right now I think where we are, I don't think either one of us is anywhere near quitting our careers to pursue a YouTube lifelong career here.
I think the closest I've ever come to flat out asking my viewers for money was I had thought about at one point in time if I wanted to take Project Low Fairmont and get it dynoed, I would, if the crowd really wanted to see that too and wanted to help fund that, that was the type of thing that I felt like, okay, I think I'd feel all right asking for money for that, because if one person donates and I got $14 towards what, I don't even know what a dyno session costs, probably in the hundreds at least. I don't know, 250. I don't know. I would give that person their money back at that point, right? Like, but if like a bunch of people pitched in and got me to that threshold, then by all means, I would go shoot that video, but it just never really worked out. I wasn't that motivated to make that happen, I guess.
Well, and again, there's to those who don't know that when you reach a certain point in your YouTube channel to become monetized, YouTube will pay you based on the viewership, and depending on how much viewership you have, depends on how much you make. You don't get paid out until you make $100, and if you're lucky enough, you might get $100 a month. Maybe you get it every other month. Maybe you get a couple $100 a month. However you look at it, it's all money that goes back into the channel. When I buy merchandise, like for instance this T-shirt, United by Trucks, I use my YouTube money to support that channel. When I buy my own old Car Guy T-shirts, or when I buy a straight Six Fan T-shirt, I use whatever YouTube ad revenue that I use or that I get to support those other channels, whether they're big or small, because if I want to support them by walking around wearing a United by Trucks shirt, then I want somebody to stop and ask me what's United by Trucks. If I'm wearing an old Car Guy, in fact, it happened to me the other day. Or not the other day, it's probably about a week ago. I walked into a business and somebody says, looking at my shirt, so what is that? What is that, a G? I said, well, it's actually OCG. Oh, I see it now. I struck up that conversation, and I hope I gained a subscriber from it. But that's why we support small channels and big channels for that matter. We want to see these channels succeed. So I've got 3 straight Six Fan T-shirts. I think I've got one of each of all the ones that he's produced. And again, having that YouTube ad revenue that you get each month or every other month or whatever it happens to work out to helps support that. Or maybe it helps support, doing something with the Yugo, or doing something with the shop truck, or, Grant paying for his carpet for the Grand Prix. So it's all cyclical. You do it because you have fun. You're showing off your craft, or you're having some fun just making videos. If YouTube in turn pays you back a little bit, well, I just spend that little bit back on YouTube again.
Yeah, so Andy Turlo, you need to catch up with Jason. There are actually 4 designs, and actually as soon as Jason said that reminded me, I haven't ever really even broadcast the 4th design. It's really a spin-off of the original one, but I need to buy one for myself, actually, just to make sure that I like it, how it's formatted. So if I have to make any revisions, like shift the logo up or down, make it a little smaller, I usually do that. I usually buy one for myself just to make sure that it's turning out the way I want it to. But yeah. So anyway, at this point, guys, most every show we open it up to the viewers for questions, and we've had some good ones so far. So keep them coming. It's really helpful. I think Jason and I more or less have voiced what we're struggling with, what we're dealing with here on YouTube. But what are some? And I think earlier on, I saw some people talking about how they noticed views and everything's down by like 30% or something like that. But yeah, what we got here, Jason?
Well, Papillon Cycles is just basically saying that he's amazed at how much time that we actually do put into creating content. And, when we have time, but at the same time, for me, it's stuff that I'm already doing. It slows me down to make content because it's camera angles, it's stopping your work to talk to you guys and explain what's going on, and this and that. But I'm still doing everything that I normally would be doing on an evening or a weekend or this or that, only I'm doing it with a camera. I don't have any other hobbies really. I do own my own business, so that consumes a lot of time. We spend a lot of time camping in the summertime, but that's why I generally tend to get a lot more content in the winter months, because I'm usually right here and I'm not doing everything else. But we don't travel, especially over the last couple of years. We couldn't travel, but we don't travel as a rule. We don't. We're not smokers. We don't eat out a huge amount. We like our beer, but at the end of the day, it's all on where you focus a lot of your attention. And I'm just as happy to focus it here, holding a camera or talking to you guys or doing whatever it is, because I have fun doing it, and I enjoy seeing your guys' reactions to either my stupidity or my lack of knowledge or my goof ups, like running out of gas.
We know you're good for running out of gas video every sixth video or something, Jason.
It happens.
Just like the inverse of that is me taking 6 episodes to do a simple brake job. But Papillon Cycles asked again another good question. He says, Grant, have you ever found a 292 Chevy to work on? Short answer is no, but the long answer is because I've never looked for one. I did see a few come up on, but it's a good segue into something else about the Grand Prix. That I did see a couple 292s on Facebook Marketplace when I inserted into my search bar Vortec 4200 engine, because I can tell you the Grand Prix at one point in time was leaking 4 of the 6 major fluids. Antifreeze, power steering fluid, oil, and transmission fluid. I noticed the other day when I was cleaning the garage, there was still drips of transmission fluid on the tranny pan that I'm like, I took this to a professional shop and I've already taken it back once to fix the leak. And apparently wherever it's coming from, they did not fix the leak. So I need to get it back. But I'm at the point, I think the water pump's about to go out on the 301 V8, which is a pointless V8. It's gutless. So I think what I'm going to do is not fix that and intentionally probably try to blow the motor. So I have to engine swap it. And I'm thinking Vortec 4200 swap eventually at some point.
Well, to that point, if you're not, if that's a GM thing. It leaks, right? That's just the way it is.
Yes, I'm new to it.
Andy Turlo says he just bought a buzz and half dozen, so he's got the second one on his way.
Thank you, Andy. Yeah, I don't know that I'm actually going to intentionally try to blow the motor, but it's like I'm just not going to fix the problem that I probably know. And then the power steering, like I could probably fix that one. I could probably hunt down that one. But again, it's like if I'm going to swap the motor eventually, I'll get a new power steering pump when I do that.
Or you could just rebuild the power steering pump like I did on Tom's Monaco. It's all it is a seal kit and a little bit of ingenuity, and you buy the seal kit for like $15 on Rock Auto, as opposed to a whole power steering pump for $70 or $80. I don't know what they run.
It might be worth trying.
Let's see here.
Glenn, you're pretty much right. Yeah, it doesn't leak rear end fluid that I know of, or washer fluid. So
Ryan says the Yugo looks shiny. It is possible to polish a turd. Absolutely, it is. This is the cleanest it's ever been. I've been puttering away on a lot of little things on this all day today, trying to get it ready for the show. If you guys saw, if anyone out there is looking for a trailer hitch that fits a Yugo, slightly used, just hit me up at $500. Don't lowball me.
know
I
what I
know
have.
what I
You go in trailer hitch, like that goes in the front, right? So you can haul it behind your RV. Is that what you're
No, no,
saying?
no, 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 no. But the funny thing is, I don't know if you can see it from there, but there are a couple of holes right there. There's one over here too that somebody, well, when I bought it, it had the hooks for a front tow bar. In fact, when I picked it up from the guy that I bought it from, he was driving a Subaru Forester towing this thing behind it, flat towing it. Go figure. Let's see here. John says, when the leaks stop, that's when you should be concerned. If it's leaking, you know it still has gear oil in it or whatever it is. One more thing that I wanted to talk about just kind of quickly before before we get any further, before the show ends, before I forget, is I do want to make sure that if you guys don't already if you're not already subscribed to my channel, now is a good time to click the subscribe button, because that's how you get notified when I do put out these really, really awesome videos that go viral and get tens of views. So make sure you're subscribed. And because this is a collaborative effort with Grant, head on over to his YouTube channel. And if Joanne is still in the chat, maybe she can pop up his link again one more time. And when everything else is all said and done, if you're not following the Get Out and Drive podcast on your favorite podcasting place, go do that now. And if you don't have a favorite podcasting place, go over to getoutnddrive.com. You can listen right from there. So I want to make sure I got those plugs in, because I think sometimes we have a hard time promoting ourselves. So I want to get that ask out there. It doesn't cost you a cent. It's just a click of a button. And please just make sure that you're following us. Every little bit helps. And if you see anybody in the chat that has a YouTube channel, Will's Wheels, Turlo's Garage, Everything is Broken Garage, there's a few more that's been scrolling in and out of here all night. Make sure you're hitting those guys up too, because nothing says you got to subscribe, but at least check their content out. You might like what you see.
And similar to that, Turlo brings up a really good point. Of course, I'm self-promoting myself here, but I like what he ends with. If you don't know what to write, just comment that someone sent you. And I'm not specific to my channel, but to piggyback on what Jason said, like if you're just interested in someone's name here in the chat, go check out their channel. Try out one video at least, and just mention, hey, saw you in the chat on the Car Guy and Six Fan Show or something, And if it's content's not for you, you can walk away. But that simple act goes a real long way for all of us. When we're dumping time into these channels and things like that, it truly does. So.
Yep. So if we don't have, I guess we got a question there. I guess the Bandit is asking, when am I swapping out the engine of the Yugo? So initially I was going to do that right away. And when gas prices took a shit kicking, for the lack of a better term, that's when I decided I would hold off till a winter project when things aren't so busy for me, and do that swap then. For now that we've got the Yugo running decent, I'm going to run the Yugo for a while, likely for the summer. Hopefully the gas prices come down for a bit. Doing that engine swap isn't something that's going to happen, in a weekend. It's going to take some time, especially because I don't have a lot of it. So it will happen, but bear with me. For now, we're just going to be driving the Yugo as a daily for a while, and hopefully, get that going so that next spring, we literally can be burning the tires off of it.
I was hoping that's what you were going to say. Well, with that, I mean, I think that's gonna, we'll put a cap on the episode 1 of the Greatest Hits season 8 here on the Car Guy and Six Fan Show. Unless Jason, was there anything we want to wrap up with other than that?
Again, keep in mind, the Car Guy and Six Fan Show, powered by the Get Out and Drive podcast, is a collaborative effort between myself and Grant. So next week, the live show is at the same time, but over on Grant's channel. And we do have a guest, and next week's guest is Ken from Whalen Wire. And we had a blast last year or last season when we had him on. We broke live viewership records. What was it? 151 or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Anyways,
It was over 150.
so if you guys know anybody who watches Ken or watches his channel and wants to have a good fun, it's always a good time when you talk with Ken. And if you want to have some fun, make sure you send some friends over, because we want to smash that 150 views at once and do good. It's over on Grant's channel. So again, make sure you head on over there. I'm Jason, old car guy. Stay focused on the windshield, not the rear view mirror. Grant, why don't you go ahead and close us out?
Well, yeah, actually, as you were talking about that reminded me, when earlier, Jason, you were talking about we probably don't promote ourselves enough. I did want to slide in that, and I know this isn't for everybody, because I'm a less is more type guy. I don't really like having to manage a bunch of social media accounts, but I do for the person like that who is I just like one platform, so I want to be able to catch all those people. But I would think I speak for Jason when I say Instagram's probably the best place to follow us in between our content and our this show. And so look for some graphics coming out that will show the lineup here for season 8 on the Car Guy and Six Fan Show, starting with Whalen Wire, Olkin from on YouTube, and we'll let you know who the next 3 or 4 are after that. But I guess with that, I'll just say to all my Six fans out there, thanks for watching.
Oh, another thing I forgot before I click that button, new episode of the Get Out and Drive podcast coming out Sunday. Make sure you guys are following.